All right, so in this video, I'm going to discuss if the CBI passports, citizenship by investment passports, are they going to be completely banned in Western countries? Well, there are a lot of actions that Western countries are taking. European Commission, as most of my viewers already know, or most of my subscribers already know this, is completely terminating whatever they can terminate from the European countries. Cyprus, Malta, Montenegro, everything is all over. Macedonia is all over. So obviously those programs are shut. All the golden visas are cancelled. When I say all, I'm talking about Portugal, the ones that were active, right? Portugal, Ireland, and then Spain real estate option, which was the main component of the golden visa, that is shutting down as well. The second big thing is they're reviewing all the Schengen access that they've given to different countries. The first casualty was Vanuatu. They canceled that access completely. Now they're looking at other passports that continue to have the Schengen access and continue to sell these passports. One of the biggest casualties, a very sad one, was the Cyprus, right? It was a legit program. They sold citizenships. They sold the Cyprus passport, a very expensive program. So they provided 200 citizenships. And when you provide a number like that, right, you do some due diligence. They did the due diligence and then they provided the 200 citizenships. And then what happened, right? You had the whole due diligence, but they terminated those 200 passports. So someone, let's say, who used a high-profile citizenship like Cyprus to renounce their home country nationality, and if they have renounced it, and if Cyprus has cancelled the passport, and when you cancel a passport, it's usually for some trouble, right? Usually there could be a jail term associated with that. So if that happens, then obviously makes you almost ineligible to get any other citizenship out there. So let's consider this as an example. You trusted the program, you trusted the due diligence, you gave them $1 million or more, and then you got this passport, you felt very relaxed, you're a citizen, right, a real citizen, and then you renounce your home country nationality, let's take an example, and then if something like this happens, you get jail term, right, you get jailed, and you don't get any other citizenship, then you are stateless. What do? You can't travel for the rest of their life? Well, answer to that is not that simple. But that's beyond the scope of that. Now, regarding the whole Cyprus fiasco, if you want to learn more about this topic, and if you have missed my detailed video on this, you can return and check this one. Very interesting one. So make sure you watch that one. There was also recently, not something similar, but an interesting news that came out of St. Kitts and Nevis. So that news came out, and then they the next, I don't know if they're related, but what happened is they slashed the price. It's not 150K. They're selling it for much cheaper. They're selling it for 125K. That's the cost if you want to outright buy the passport from the St. Kitts and Nevis program. Now, it's obviously called a donation. It's called an investment. So obviously you're donating it to the country for good purposes, right? They're going to use that money for something good for the country. Something very interesting that came out of St. Kitts and Nevis is that their due diligence, the platinum brand advocate, their ex-due diligence chief, Les Khan, he's accused apparently of scams worth millions of dollars. He reportedly spent most of his time in the US, and that matter is under investigation. Now, he did obviously assure the entire CBI community that it's a platinum brand. It's a very high profile due diligence. Let's hope, it is what it is, and he comes out of this at some point. Hope this is all not true. But, it is what it is. And if you have missed that whole news coverage, I was one of the very first ones to break that on my channel. So you can return and check this video. This talks about the whole process in detail. There's also a separate question that a lot of people talk about is, are CBI citizens tracked separately? Well, the answer is not a straightforward yes and no. Obviously, banks and entities are trying their best to put mechanisms and tools in place to identify the CBI citizens, right? The people who use such passports, purchased passports for travel, for banking, etc. Now, if you want to get more information or insights on what are the tools and the tracking mechanism that's used to, let's say, identify such cases or such people, you can return and check this video. This talks about the entire current state of affairs, right? Currently, how it's being tracked and monitored and all of those kind of things. It gives you what's happening today, and it also talks about what's in the pipeline, what are different agencies up to when it comes to this whole tracking mechanism. Well, now, what's the other breaking that's happened is UK is very closely reviewing all the access. So you had US who terminated the E2 access. So any CBI citizen who may have bought the passport for E2 can no longer use that by purchasing this option. They need to be domiciled in the country. So if they are naturally born citizen of the country, which I often term as real citizen. Well, both citizenships, even if it is citizenship by investment, it's still real based on the country that you're coming from. So, but when I say real, I mean, I'm talking about the birthright. Obviously, both are real. But so the US terminated the whole E2 access, which was a major blow to these passports, right? That was a marketing pitch point. And now UK is up to the same thing. They're reviewing access. Worst case scenario, UK can completely terminate their access. So all the Western governments are really pressuring these programs to either shut down or they would, they might cancel all the Western access. So are the CBI passports going to lose all their access? Well, I hope not, right? A lot of people find this as attractive options. Yes, there are bad actors both in and outside these programs, and they bring a lot of bad repute to the whole industry in general, but the entire industry doesn't function like that, right? A lot of people find these as attractive options. But for now, unfortunately, because of the history and what has happened, obviously the reputation is what it is at this point in time. A lot of Western governments obviously frown on these programs, and they are looking at all the possible ways to terminate the access from these passports. Whether it practically happens, only time will tell. Looks like it's on the pathway, right, based on the sequence of events. What is the solution, right? So the solution is very simple. You need to have some genuine ties to the country, or you should have. It's always good to have. Let me put it that way, right? It's always good to have genuine ties with the country. Let's say it's a residency. Maybe it's a flexible residency. You don't have to live there all the time. Maybe you're creating enough ties to prove yourself. The government feels that you're genuinely linked to the country. Maybe you have some presence over there. Maybe you know the language. Maybe you at least understand the country. You have some commitment towards the country, right? So if you look at some of the options, there are a lot of great options around the world, both in Europe, in Africa, in Latin America, Asia. Unfortunately, there aren't many because Asia obviously doesn't allow dual citizenship, or most of them restrict to a single citizenship. Beautiful countries like Singapore, South Korea, etc. The great passports, great countries, but unfortunately they don't allow multiple citizenships. But there are several other natural, genuine, flexible residencies that lead to citizenship around the world. It not only gets you profit if you're investing correctly, but also helps you create a good plan B, a good security, so you can actually go there, live there, create your ties, and then eventually naturalize and get the protection, real plan B that you're looking for. If you cut corners, if you do the wrong stuff, and I'm not saying any of these paid programs are bad or you're doing anything wrong. I'm just saying quick and fast solutions versus long-lasting, reputable solutions. There is a clear difference between the two. Now, smart people will obviously understand what I'm saying. I don't want to sit and argue over this. It is what it is, and most people already know it. Well, if you haven't subscribed to my video, make sure you go ahead and subscribe so I can get you more great content. It helps the algorithm. It helps you keep up to date on all the information, on all the analysis. And if you liked this video, give me a thumbs up, and catch you in the next one.